I think we finally reached the point where single men realize it is better to be alone than be in a relationship. It took us years to reach this point, but now men finally realize that women are full of crap, relationships are BS, dating is dead, and living life on their terms is better than cohabitating with a woman. And men are now refusing to go back to the dating marketplace now that they tasted what true freedom felt like when they don't have an annoying, ungrateful, and unappreciative XX in their ears complaining about what they aren't doing and making their lives a living hell. I remember fondly when my ex decided she was tired of being up under me and she wanted her own freedom. I was somewhat crushed, knowing that the time I invested in the relationship didn't yield anything and I wasted my time. And for a couple of months, I did not feel comfortable being alone because I had spent 2 years with who I thought I would spend the rest of my life, only to have that dream crumble to dust. Then, in the blink of an eye, I was left for dead, and she moved on so fast as if we weren't even together. I even simped and tried to get her back, but of course, she did not care, and slowly I started to realize that it was truly over and I would never be with her ever again. So I decided to stop trying to get her back and move on as she had told me countless times, and one day it clicked to me that I was much better off without her in my life. I don't remember if it was after my RP journey began or when I was hooking up with a girl that treated me way better than my ex did, but I realized that I was better off being single than in a relationship, which changed my life. I felt so much lighter when I realized I no longer had to provide or take care of a woman. Carry her out on dates, try to make her happy, work like a horse and give away my money to a wife and kids, spend my life building a family and so much more BS. I realized for the first time that I could finally choose how I was going to live my life instead of following the script of the Matrix that everyone expected me to follow. That day I finally understood why men valued their peace, quiet, and freedom so much, and I would never have known how much better my life could be if my ex didn't choose to leave me. The problem with my past self was that I always wanted a family since my mother temporarily abandoned me at the time and ran off with her new man. I used to dream of how wonderful it would be to have a loyal wife that would never cheat, always stick by my side and build a family with me, so I was never even thinking about any other option than to become a family man. But when my ex decided she didn't want to be with me anymore after making me wait 2 years in a sexless relationship and still didn't give up any stank, I started to question myself if what I wanted and what I was going to get matched up. Because in my mind, I did most things right in a relationship and I still failed miserably and never got what I wanted. And it wasn't just me. Everyone I knew broke up eventually, so I searched for answers to see why people couldn't stay together, leading me to the manosphere and later Coach Greg Adams. And ever since that day when the truth was revealed to me, I pledged to myself that I would never go back to the plantation. That was my story, and I thank God every day that I was able to get this information so I could make the best decision for life going forward. But I'm not the only one. Hundreds of thousands of men around the world are starting to realize that women are not worth it and are choosing to stay single instead of sacrificing themselves for a woman who only cares about herself. Because whether you want to admit it or not, most of your lives improved so much for the better the moment you decided to check out of relationships entirely and live life on your terms. I hear it every day on the channel from men pledging that they will never go back into a relationship and how the juice isn't worth the squeeze. This shows us that more and more men are starting to see that life is much better when they are single and living on their terms instead of wifing up a modern woman. Unfortunately, men have to go through pain and suffering to finally get to the point where they can clearly see that women in relationships are not worth it, and even then, some men still decide to choose a wife over a life. Those men can clearly see that what they're doing isn't working. Instead of choosing a different path and deciding to live their life for themselves, they would rather piss freedom away at the chance that the next woman they get into a relationship with will be different from their ex. When in reality, they do the same thing over and over, expecting a different result, which is the definition of insanity. I call those men hope strategists, and if I'm being honest with you, I don't care what happens to those men. There is too much information in 2022 for me to sympathize for you when you get swindled or divorced great to kingdom come. So my advice to men who are in the spirit of hope is to take a step back from relationships and spend time being alone for at least a year so you can get comfortable being alone. If you as a man cannot be alone for a year, then what type of man are you? Like seriously, all men should learn to be alone. It's a crucial skill if you want to mature and gain experience as a man. So I believe this is something that all men should go through at one stage in their lives. And speaking of alone, when you choose to pursue peace, quiet, and freedom and live the free agent lifestyle, go monk mode or go your own way, it will be a very lonely journey for most men. And this is something that men have to understand. Remember what I've told you in previous videos, nobody cares or gives a crap about men, and this is the life we have to live. So it's crucial that you love and take care of yourself because nobody else probably will. And you definitely cannot depend on a woman to love you at all. I did a video on this topic the other day that you should check out, but just know that all you have is yourself. At best, you may have one or two friends or a brother who cares about you past what you can do for them, but most of us will be on a lonely journey. And guess what? Nobody cares what we have to go through or our struggles in this world as a man. We are on nobody's top priorities list. There's nobody who has our backs and will help us out when we're in trouble or in a tough spot. We are not appreciated for the things that we give and provide for the people that we care about. And when we die, most people will not miss us or mourn our deaths for very long. These are the things that men must understand going forward, and more single men are starting to realize that this is what men have to go through 365 days until their time expires on this earth. So whenever you guys decide to go against the grain and not follow programming, that is the time that you will really see the people around you for what they are. You will come to the realization that the people closest to you do not have your best interest at heart, and most of them are just selfish human beings. In my personal life, I have a grandmother who seriously wants me to consider taking care of a single mother and her kids instead of living my life how I want to. Like seriously, this is how low they think of you when you aren't following programming, brothers. She wants me to consider sacrificing my life to save another man's seed and a woman who made bad decisions every step of the way just so that they can benefit. I tell you, people do not want the best for you as a man. All they want is for you to provide and protect, and that's it. They don't care about what your wants and needs are. They don't care about your issues and the things you have to deal with, and they definitely don't have your best interest at heart. And you know what the sad part is? Your own family or the people closest to you will choose a woman that's destroying your life over you any day of the week. They will care more about a woman that's a stranger than you, and that's just the truth. Alright, I know that some of you guys have been waking up to this reality, or this is resonating with some of you, and you're wondering what's the solution to this and who you could turn to. Well, let me be frank, there's no place to turn to besides online spaces and male communities. Out in the real world, I already explained that nobody cares. There's no men's group that's allowed to thrive or get support so they can help men worldwide. It's just you against the world, brothers. I am sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but it's lonely being a man, and we just have to deal with it and figure things out as we go along. The best advice I can give is to either live the free agent lifestyle, go monk mode, or go your own way. Mentally prepare yourself for the road to come, especially when you're not going to date women anymore. People are not going to support you by default, but when you decide you're going to chase freedom, you'll get zero support. And you may even lose friends and family, so just understand that's what you have to look forward to. And all of this will happen because you decide to stop dating modern women and remain single. This shows you that society cares more about women than men at all times, so keep that in mind. Keep watching channels like these and getting the information, but don't follow me or anyone blindly. Learn to think for yourself and choose what best suits you because there's no one-size-fits-all approach for everyone. And with that said, being alone and single as a man is just something we all must go through, but the point of being alone and single is to learn to be self-sufficient, self-reliable, and comfortable, knowing that all we have at the end of the day is ourselves. I'll leave a copy of the Free Agent Lifestyle book down in the description box below so you guys can start the process of changing your lives just like it did for me. If you're new to the channel, subscribe for the coldest RP content on the platform. If you want to donate, the links to our Cash App and PayPal are in the description box below. And we have a must-see video of how the elites of the world are trying to control you, so click on the video on the screen right now to learn what you need to do so you'll be ahead of most oxygen thieves.